Tuned into Mornings in Meridian, the two best hours of local live talk radio right here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. If you're tuning in on 102.1 FM, congratulations for still knowing what a radio is. And, of course, you may be streaming on WALTmeridian.com, or you may have us on your device right here on the WALT app. Thank you for bringing us along wherever you are. I'm Roger B. Say hi to Rob Atkinson.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rob Atkinson.
Hello.
You doing all right today?
Fine.
All right. Let's introduce the guy next to you there. Hello. Good morning, Charles Frazier.
Good morning, Roger Burke.
How are you doing today?
I am doing well. And how are you today?
Why
are we doing this?
Is this really Charles or is this
What is
AI?
this, the AI version of the show? What is
Good
this?
morning, Rob Atkinson. Yeah, I don't know. All right.
Hello, sir.
AI.
How are you this
Well,
morning?
there's artificial lack of intelligence, what we have, not artificial intelligence.
Don't you love starting to watch those YouTubes and then you realize, I'm just listening to a computer talk here. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I want to go on. So next. And we'll introduce our guest here because this is the third Tuesday of the month, and this is the time when we bring in the Lauderdale County Law Enforcement. Not because we need it, because we want the sheriff to come in here and talk with us. Good morning, Sheriff Ward Calhoun.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody. I love it.
Yeah, not just Roger.
Okay.
Blanket statement.
That's true. I didn't say good morning to Rob.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rob,
Good morning, Rob.
his therapist will help him with that later
That's right.
when he goes.
Well, let's see. There's a lot to talk about. The astronauts will be splashing down the Gulf of America this evening, and we have the sheriff here to talk about the arrest of the ringleaders of the Tren de Aragua gang here in Meridian,
Nicely
Mississippi.
said.
Yeah, you know those astronauts, you know they've got to be pretty excited about getting to come home. Now, you know, I had a conversation with family about this, and they were like, you know, it'd be disappointing when you think you're fixing to go, and then you find out, oh, no. And then it's even more disappointing when you go, we don't know when you get to come home. And I think it's been almost 8 months, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're being deported from the space station? I mean, is ice up there again? What's going
That may
on
be
with
what's
that?
going on. But I
Okay.
told him, I said, you know what's even worse would be to get on the radio to ask the question, okay, when are we coming home? Hello?
Anybody there?
Hello? You know, nobody
going on?
answers. You know, that would have been far worse. So
Talk to Joe, please.
I'm the janitor. They've all left.
Yeah, that's like
And
the,
Kamala. That's all right.
We'll call 911 see if we can get
I'll leave
somebody
a
to come.
message.
like when Apollo 13 was asking, all right, when are we going to have a plan here? We're working on that.
Yeah, just stand by.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
We're all getting pretty tired up here. Whatever you got, just send it up here.
I got a feeling they weren't working on it, though, in Houston, you know? I just got to say. They were like, okay, nothing we can do
We
now.
need y'all to run those numbers again. You know,
Y'all just hang out up there for a couple of months. It's all good.
give them a little busy work. You know, something to keep their minds occupied.
It's amazing what you can do with duct tape and vacuum hoses. Anyway, yeah.
The answer to that.
I'm not going to touch that.
Whoa, wait a minute. It's too early for that kind of talk.
Well, wait a minute now. I was referring to the movie now. Well, Sheriff, tell us, of course, it's you have a lot of things to talk about because I think the Sheriff's Department has a new another piece of equipment.
New piece of equipment. We do.
Yeah, and you have a certain name for it. And I didn't even know if you were ready to talk about it, but
Not really.
well,
We're close. We're gonna do a unveil, but we do have a new piece of equipment that we believe will assist us in keeping our personnel safe as well as being able to be used in our community to assist and help people when needed.
is that Abrams tank?
No.
Oh, that was my first guess.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
let's go with the
we
tank,
did
too.
discuss, had
Keep
discussions.
safe, help.
Right.
Yeah,
Can we could take it for a spin? You know, I mean,
Well, you know, that stuff is fairly expensive from the roads. We don't need to do anything to mess roads up any more
Yeah,
than
that's
they already are.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, it costs a lot of money to repair roads, rush.
where we're going, we don't need any roads. With a tank, I mean, you know, you really don't.
That's true. I guess you can make your own roads.
That's it.
You know, there was a guy one time years ago. Was it a tank he took? I think it was.
Yeah.
And
In Colorado?
Yeah, somewhere, and he destroyed a lot of places, a lot of cars before they ever finally got
He
him
was an
stopped.
angry man with a tank. That's not a good
You
combination.
can't get away fast in a tank, but you can get away.
Yeah. But we'll have a we're going to do a little what do you want to call reveal? These days they do gender reveal. We're going to do an equipment reveal. We'll do that in probably a couple of weeks. Got a little maintenance work being done on it. We got some graphics we got to get done, so it won't be long.
I'm just take comfort in knowing that I live in a country where there are only 2 genders to reveal. So that's the good part about it.
You notice nobody's ever had it's always blue and pink. It's never anything else. Of course, there's a reason for that.
Thank you. Common sense prevailing once again.
Yeah. So we'll have that coming pretty soon.
So we can't talk about the new equipment. So all right,
maybe by next time we'll really
next
talk
time it's
about
going to be
it.
so
Matter of
old
fact, hey, we'll
news
do
now.
a live. We'll go to the parking lot or something. And
Hey, we could do the reveal right here. Yeah, in the parking lot. Yeah.
got to be thinking about how
Can we
do
carry
that.
these cameras out there with that wire?
Stick them at the window.
Yeah, we can open the window up. Yeah.
Pull them up there and
Open the window.
Charles is getting tired. We have to hurry back in.
shaking.
How come I hold my hand up here? Well, anyway, we're glad you're here. Of course, what is the and folks, we do want to remind you that this is going to be a perfect day for you to ask the sheriff a question because he's here with us all morning and he'll take your questions. He's not scared. He'll be glad to answer any question you have. So let's talk. Let's just get into it. Heard you and Rob talking about some excitement down at one of our apartment complexes here yesterday.
Yes, sir. That was yesterday. We had a. So the story basically goes like this: the city.
The way it was.
Yeah. So the city of Meridian, and I'm sorry to say, I should. Their special operations folks had located a location, an apartment that a young man we were looking for, drug task force had a warrant for, a Yamir Barlow, 17 years old. We had, I don't know if it was a warrant or an indictment, but we had cause to take him into custody and had been looking for him. Had been charged with manufacture, possession, or use of a machine gun conversion device.
Whoa.
That's these switches you hear about.
Okay.
And that is a state charge. It can also be a federal charge. Many different ones can be. Been looking for this young man. They had developed some information and had gone up to the door of the apartment over here on North Hill Street, just east of Highway 39. And said young man decided that the best course of action for him would be to fire through the door. I don't know the exact number of rounds. I did not count them myself, but approximately 6 is what I've been told. At that time, they backed off, started calling for the cavalry.
Smith and Wesson.
And
you've had your 6.
We showed up along with lots of other agencies, and over the course of about 25, 30 minutes, something like that, to talk him out of the apartment. So he was taken into custody without incident. He was charged.
Well, further incident.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
Further incident. He was actually it's my understanding, but because of the charges were filed by the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, that the city asked them to come in and to conduct that investigation. And he's been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of shooting into an occupied dwelling, because some of those rounds that came from inside the apartment through the door of the apartment actually went into other apartments across the way, or at least one that was occupied.
Okay.
So,
Howdy, neighbor.
of course, he'll be spending his 18th birthday this coming Saturday at our jail, because that's where he is. He has no bonds set on those charges.
What are you going to get him?
Not going to get him anything. I'm going to feed him 3 meals and give him a room like we do everybody else.
Okay. All right. Nothing
So,
special.
No cake.
yeah, he hasn't had any bond set yet on the other charges. He's got a $100,000 bond set on the warrant that we have, the Drug Task Force Sheriff's Department had on him to begin with. So,
So is that why the sheriff's department was present?
well, initially, is my understanding, I was in a board of supervisors meeting when the phone went off, and
Oh, that's more fun. You can tell us
yeah,
about.
well, you know,
Where was
sometimes
that?
I'm looking to get out of those. So, you know, most of the time they're okay. But,
Which place were more shots taken at
Yeah.
the board of supervisors? Or
at the apartment complex.
okay, all right.
So, so on my way, that's when we were able to determine the Drug Task Force had actually, a couple of the agents that were headed out there to assist them had not actually arrived. So they were not there when the shots were actually fired, but you know, of course they came. And when something like this happens, everybody's going to show up and assist where we can and do what we can to solve the problem safely and as quickly as we possibly can. So that occurred, of course, yesterday. These switches, we've a number of people been arrested. What that is, by the way, in case a listener may not know, it basically converts a device to a fully automatic. Think of a machine gun, and that's what that by adding that to a semi-automatic, either a pistol or a rifle, can do that.
Semi-automatic means basically you got to pull the trigger each time.
Correct.
Automatic means you just hold the trigger and it continues to fire.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's not like the switch that your mom made you go get.
No, not that kind of switch.
Bringing up bad memories.
I don't know if anybody younger than me ever did that. My mama didn't, but my grandfather did one time.
Give me a switch. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I know all about that. I can still feel it when you see I have the mental
Really?
scarring.
Oh, sorry about that.
He
Feel
wore
the
me
trauma
out good on that.
I'm
trauma.
just picturing how fast she stripped the leaves off of that wheel switch.
Yeah. Some of that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, it's traumatic for everybody. We're all gonna need
Look what
therapy
you
after
did.
this. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I just go back. I just go back to 17, about to be 18, and
That's yeah. I've got a
that's-
17-year-old son. It's amazing to
Yeah.
me that and I like what you said about the drug task force, and I assume that was just Lauderdale County involved with that.
Well, our drug task force is a partnership between us and the city. Currently, we don't have any and haven't since, I don't even know the exact year, 2018.
So it's really just the Lauderdale County.
Essentially, we're hopefully we will get to some point where we are, we coordinate a little bit together on the street. There's certainly the design of that partnership was to be a true partnership, and
Financial partnership.
Yeah. Well, when the
Everybody paying their share.
Sorry, this is a question.
when the drug task force,
You just keep talking. I'll fill in the
yeah, I
blanks for
see
you.
that you will. The drug task force, when it originally started, it was on a grant they were getting, and the deal was if you wanted a grant to create a drug task, this is in 1992 or 3, right along in there. You did this grant. The state gave you the money, but it had to be at least 2 entities joining together. And at the time, it was police department, sheriff's department. When that started out, there had been a group before, Metro Narcotics, I think is what they were called. But at the time, there were 5 city detectives, 2 sheriff's deputies assigned to that. And over the years, that started morphing to more of us and less of them till we get to the point now where we have 6 drug task force agents that are sheriff's deputies, and we have no city officers currently assigned or have any been assigned in a long time.
And what was the city's reason originally for not keeping that partnership going?
Personnel, just having the number, being able.
So
to
it's
put
not
some-
about the money.
Well, as I recall, that was the issue. Was just purely just having enough bodies to be able to do that. We're of course we're in the middle of municipal elections, so right now I'm kind of waiting for the dust to all settle, and then we'll see who all's in what spot, and we'll start working with them, whoever that is, looking at ways that possibly they can participate more in the drug task force.
We ask the candidates when they come on, and I think there's an interest in some of the candidates to revisit that.
Of course, we visited with the independent candidate and all of the Democrat candidates so far, with the exception of a couple of those. I think everybody's pretty much in agreement so far that we visited with. We need to revisit that.
I think it's a tough thing to say as a candidate when your number one issue in the city is safety.
Right.
To say no, we're not really interested in renewing that partnership.
Yeah,
We're going to
exactly.
let So I mean,
they're right now they're getting the benefit without the cost.
Right.
Truly, the last time we looked at the numbers, and I don't
Which
have
is a
them.
pretty good deal. Maybe that's what they're really looking at. Yeah.
Just tell them we don't have the
How
people.
about the partnership? That we're not a
There
partner
are
on?
multiple partnerships through the years that have just dissolved. I mean, the animal control was together at one time. E911 is still together. Animal control is actually split, of course, but now E911 is still existing, but the city paid, and they quit paying years ago. And so that's, again, a situation where
E911. Why do we put an E in front of it?
Emergency.
Oh,
E911.
So just 911. That's okay. I didn't know if there was a different
No,
911.
no.
Did we change 911?
An E.
Do I have
No,
to?
it's always.
Do I
it's
have to
always
find
been
an
that way.
E on the phone
This
first?
is not an emergency. I just thought I'd call 911. Well, what's the time? What's the
Well,
what's that?
here I really blow your mind because the newest one's is NG 911, Next Generation 911.
Next generation emergency.
Well, when we are far behind the curve. You know, this is where people in lots of locations have the ability to send text messages and video in and those kind of things into 911. So that'll be some things I think we'll be looking at in the near future, how to enhance that. And actually, I said next. I may be wrong. Maybe enhance 911. I don't know. It's not my area. I
E.
hear about it.
It's a double E.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be an E, but I could be wrong. Anyway, bottom line.
It's always nice to hear a politician say he could be wrong.
I have never claimed. I have never claimed to be.
I'm
know it
sorry, a
all.
public servant. Always glad to hear public servants say he could be wrong. Well, but that's good that at least we still have the drug task force, and they were on this case, and so.
Yeah.
Now-
Finish the thought I had there that I didn't,
Yeah.
which
So-
was last
so
time we looked at
a
numbers.
word to the wise, you switch makers out there, stop it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Last time I remember the percentages, it was about somewhere between 75 and 78% of the drug task force cases originate in the city. They went back. We had them say, where do they originate? And they were city cases. So, you know, of course, we have jurisdiction everywhere, and we're going to serve all the people, but there's a reason that we need to do this together.
I just want to know, is there money in your budget to send some folks this year down to El Salvador and see if they can learn how to operate a jail?
One-way ticket.
There
No,
rules.
I'm
you
talking
mean
about,
people
I'm
from-
talking
okay, I thought
study
you
and
meant-
learn, come back, apply.
Well, I'm afraid we could. I think we probably could figure it out without having to go down there. But they have some different rules than we have. We have to. Yeah.
No rules, just
you
right.
could adapt if it were allowed, is what you're saying.
Well, let's just say yes, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Okay, I was watching some of the, I guess, what do you call it, booking prisoners in? Is that what you do? You're booking them in? It was kind of interesting.
It looked like a mix to me of a frat hazing and boot camp in the military.
They said, you don't have an option. You get a Ward Calhoun haircut, like it or not.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. Got a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. How you doing? Hello? Let's see. What am I doing wrong? I got lit up here, lit up there.
Push the right button.
May have lost him. Okay. 601-485-9191. Try again. Love to have you. So it's Mornings in Meridian. We're talking with Sheriff Ward Calhoun. You have any questions, you can call. I think our phone bill has been paid. The line lit up anyway. And then be sure and do that. Let's see if it's working now here. Good morning, caller. Are you there? I got you now. Are you there?
Okay, I am.
Well, just to kind of keep the let me just keep it technical here. Somebody pushed the AB switch.
Okay,
And
sorry.
they shouldn't have pushed the AB switch, so
Okay,
I just discovered that.
okay, that's cool. I
So
wanted to ask a
that's a
question
legal
of-
switch, by the way. It's not illegal like the sheriff's
Yeah,
talking about.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I know you needs to be a short one.
No,
Half
take your
hour. Okay,
time.
all right.
You're
Well,
visiting here at the station. The sheriff's here. How often do we get to do this, really?
Here's what I wanted to ask him. I know that the big story in the city about events on city properties and all that liabilities and things, and you see, I believe I'm correct in saying the sheriff has worked with them in the events they have called the Neshoba County Fair. Would I be right?
Yes, sir. Off of duty, yes, sir.
Right, and that as well as your position as sheriff, were you consulted about those events and any kind of dangers or systems, ways to deal with their little contract, whatever it may be?
Not officially. I did speak with one city person just in a conversation about it.
Yeah.
I think they're in between a rock and a hard place. And what I mean by that is times have changed, and there probably do need to be some changes made. What those changes are, I think, is what they're going to have to grapple with, because you're in a position where if you do nothing and everything's just completely open, and something happens, the world's going to say, why have you not learned from these other events, and why did you not do something toward making them safer? Then the other side of that is, of course, the expense, and how do you go about actually doing that? For example, a parade. How in the world you can't, we don't have the resources. Even if we had all of our folks, they had all of their folks, there's no way to really do a parade in a way that's going to absolutely, completely keep people safe. You just can't do it. So I think you have to look for what are the things that can be done without super expensive, and also that make sense in terms of being able to continue to have events. That's some of that's using technology, I think, and being strategic in your planning, and then making sure that you do it in a way that doesn't really impede these events from happening. Because I'm afraid that, and I don't know, and that's a decision they're going to have to make. I think they're voting on it today, or potentially could be voting on it today. They're going to have to, ultimately, they're going to have to live with that decision. And
I'm glad to hear that they did, or someone did ask you about it, because I do know that in other examples, such as if they think the city needs a master plan, they'll spend $100,000 and ask an architect. And I could go on about that, but I won't. But I'm glad they're talking to someone, and someone local, and someone that's got diverse experience in dealing with that to get the proper feedback.
It is a struggle. I think I don't know what they'll do, obviously, but I would like to think that they will land on something that can work for everybody and not be too cost prohibitive, and will work so that people can feel safe when they come downtown, and that we can continue to have a lot of things have been going on. The community is it's blooming downtown. And listen, I'm going to be the first to say, I may have even said it here. I certainly say it as I go around town. People will say, it's not safe. That is not true. Downtown is the safe place to go. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do you hear about something happening
I've
downtown.
always felt safe downtown.
Downtown is not unsafe at all. When you start looking at, you start mapping out where these other events happen, these shootings are happening downtown.
Petula Clark says, if you want to feel safe, you can always go downtown.
I'm glad to see that somebody else is old enough to remember Petula Clark.
That's right.
Good deal.
Thanks for your info this morning.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the phone call. You too can call us at 601-485-9191. And you can also call Jeffrey Wilson for up to, an average savings of up to $889 for your insurance if you combine your auto and home.
Yep, it's just that easy. All you need to do is go visit Jeffrey Wilson or give him a call, 601-483-8253, and he will help you combine your home and auto today right here in Meridian. And he's at 2401 Highway 39 North. You know where he is? Got that little red car that sits out front. And here's the deal. You really need to know your insurance agent, because when you've got a claim, that guy's going to go to bat for you and get you the money that you deserve, that you've been paying in for all those years without using. Jeffrey Wilson is like a good neighbor. Neighbor. Call him today. 601-483-8253. Jeffrey Wilson, State Farm Insurance.
All righty. It's Mornings in Meridian. The sheriff is in the house, and we're going to be taking this. You go ahead with the question, and we'll take a break.
And about these events where now they're wanting to do that. Was there any sort of threat ever made at any of these things, or is this? Do you think that this is more of a legal issue where a lawyer's saying, "Look at our liability on this. New Orleans is being sued for $500 million or something ridiculous for the incident that happened on New Year's Eve," and so do you think this is more of a lawyer saying, in order to protect our liability, we must institute these measures. But has there been a credible threat, though, at any time of any attack on any of these things?
To answer the first question, I have no idea.
Okay.
But certainly, you would think that would be part of the city thinking would be, we should review this. We should think about this. There have been incidences at events, though. I mean, you had a couple years ago, maybe it was the Juneteenth where there was an incident a couple years ago, and that comes top of my mind. I don't know.
Was that kind of in the close proximity of the event, not actually in the event itself?
I don't know. I don't have enough. I just remember during
I'm
that
working
time
off a memory
frame.
as well.
I think it was about a half a block, maybe, from the actual event.
And so I may need to stand corrected. Maybe it wasn't at the event.
But it was, I think, a direct result of the crowds gathering
Right.
for the event.
So that's, I think that, any leadership, you have to think about these things. Times change. You have to stop and reevaluate and reassess. Are we doing everything the best that we can do to keep people safe? There's a balance here you got to find.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they've got to figure out. What does that balance look like?
And as far as the litigation potential, you could line the streets with, National Guard and arm them and everything,
And still have
the
something.
lawyers are still going to find
Some negligence, right? You
Somebody-
should have done that.
somebody's going to try to find a chink in the armor and get something for their client.
Right. So you always want to have the ability to, when you do have something happen, you want to be able to, you try to mitigate the risk the best you can. And you do that to keep people safe. But from the legal side, documenting that, having an standard operating procedure, the way you do it, for example, parade permits, that everybody has to have one and that your rules apply to everybody. It's not pick and choose. So when you do get yourself in those situations, and they certainly happen, you're able to go back and say, these are, and you're looking for what's reasonable. Was that reasonable to have people do these things? Were they done? That's usually where the problem is where you don't do what you're supposed to do.
And if you go back to New Orleans, I mean, they talked about the street was barricaded.
With a car.
With you barricade a street, just make
not
sure
a sidewalk.
make sure you barricade an area adequately. Like I've seen concrete barricades. I've seen things that would prevent a vehicle from entering that area.
It of course, I think what made that so bad was when you find out 2 days later, the city had spent millions of dollars on these barricades who were off over here in a warehouse, and the police chief or whatever her title is, I didn't even know we had those. Well, okay,
Ooh, okay.
First of all, I never would have said that. But the other thing is, there should have been some people in charge of that. I get maybe she wouldn't know that, but there should have been folks under her who did. And
It's a person's reaction when they are immediately trying to defer fault.
right.
They say things like that come across as this even further incriminates you, but it didn't feel like it at the
Yeah,
time.
Public Works or whoever was responsible for that, when that's not the way things should have been done.
Nobody told me we had those. But again, everything was fine for years and years and years until this event happened. There's a little metal gate barricades. Not that I know how they barricade Bourbon Street. I don't want you to think that that's a place where I go.
He's been barricaded from Bourbon. That's banned, actually. It's a whole different thing.
That's a whole
You're
different.
not allowed on
That's
Bourbon
two
anymore.
different things. That's right. That's right.
Only happened that one
So
time.
but it's like every other part of life. Things go on successfully, time after time after time, and then when something bad happens, what could we have done? So
Well,
that's a journey that'll never end.
But there's also a creative way of destruction or terrorism or whatever you want to call it. Whoever thought they'd fly a plane into the World Trade Center, I mean, that's not something that's on anybody's
never
radar.
happened before,
It's on you know what I mean. But it's exactly. And so until those incidents happen, then we're all reacting to it.
Yeah.
It seems to me, though, that with the city's new policy, that is more of a deterrent for weapons than for vehicle sort of, crashes into people. And I just wonder if there's been incidents. We had, you had the incidents you referenced earlier, where obviously there were some guns there. I don't know if they were in the actual perimeter of the event or if they were just on the periphery. But you wonder, have there been other events? And obviously, when you're combining alcohol and a lot of people and an open carry law, then,
and that's
you got a recipe for some possible disasters. But
and look, that's one part of this equation that I hadn't heard anybody talk about.
Why family reunions are dangerous.
other reasons, but yeah,
Alcohol, lots of people, and guns.
And we live in a state where we have, as you said, open carry, and people can be walking down a city sidewalk all day long, and so right next to an event or a venue. So there are a lot of issues here that's going to make it difficult. I think again, we're going to have to find a balance that can work for everybody. Try to keep an event as safe as possible, but it's also reasonable. Because if you don't, what you're going to have is no events.
No, that's right. That's the safest thing to do. The way you preserve everybody, you don't have it. People stay at home.
Yeah, which I don't.
I have other reasons.
That's not what we're trying to do.
Exactly. Let's take a phone call here. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Welcome. Good.
I just wanted to say, first and foremost, Sheriff Calhoun's doing an amazing job. We appreciate him. He's doing a really, really good job.
Now, how do you know that? Do you go to work with him? Do you see what he does every day? How do you know that?
I mean, you see it on the news. You can see it in the community.
Gotcha.
He's doing what he should do, and we appreciate him so much.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I just wanted to weigh in about as far as the punishment side of it. I've worked in a maximum security facility here in Mississippi, prison, and the problem is nobody's afraid to go to prison anymore. They just they have iPads. They can walk around as they please. They get good meals. I think every Thursday was hamburger day. Big hamburgers like you would get on. You'd have to pay $10 for. It's basically a country club for gangs.
Weidman's didn't have a contract, did they?
no.
Okay.
And, it's just one of those things. They're not afraid of it anymore. I seen that the first week I worked there. And it's, they got more freedoms than we do most of the time. That's the issue. They're not afraid of it like they used to be.
We try to be so humane to our prisoners, we end up being inhumane to the common citizen.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at it, 50 years ago, if you went to Parchman, you was on a work camp. You didn't want to go do that for 5 years. But you go now, and it's a country club. You get to work out. You get to hang out with your buddies. You got iPads you can call your old lady from. It's just a fun time.
Building your street cred every day.
That's it. But I just wanted to weigh in on that, and I just wanted to thank Ward Calhoun for everything he's doing. I appreciate him so much.
All right, thank you. All right, appreciate the phone call.
I appreciate that, but it's because of the hard work of the men and women that work down there. I say it often. I'm amazed at the quality of people we have, and I don't think a lot of people in our community realize, how they really 24/7. They are out there doing the job, not only on the streets but at the detention facility. That is a job that nobody sees them quite often, and if you do, maybe you see them out getting food someplace. But other than that, you're not going to even know they work there. They've got the hard job.
All right, we got a call from your brother. What's going to be next? Your mom? She going to call in?
Yeah.
No.
Cousins. I mean,
Cousins.
Yeah,
you got them lined up.
Whole family. Yeah.
No, I'm obviously, it's.
You're gonna get pulled over for that seatbelt violation.
I think I better watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard the FAA was wanting to talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
It just looks like right now
commercial break.
it is.
Wow, it's that time.
Look how the time's getting away here, Sheriff. I'm sorry we had to cut your visit short today, but we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Roger. Rob is here. Charles is here.
Yep.
Sheriff Ward Calhoun, really nice guy. You got to meet him. Mornings in Meridian. Little big town. Boondocks. Always brings a tear to my eye. It reminds me of where I was born. That's all right. There, Philip Sweet, part of the group there, is 51 years old today. Happy birthday. If the 18th of March is your birthday. Some late departed musicians. Wilson Pickett, born on this day in 1941. We lost him in 2006. And the late Charlie Pride, born on this day in 1934. And I bet you was born in Mississippi. We're glad you're out there, folks. Tuned in. Roger, along with Rob Atkinson.
Hello, good morning.
What?
Not taking that bad.
This guy kills me over here.
Charles Frazier.
Well,
what are you doing, Charles?
Nothing.
What are you doing
I wasn't
to
going
Rob?
to take the bet is all. You know, the Charlie.
Okay.
I'm betting that.
Take the over-under.
The over-under. And, of course, this is the day we have Sheriff Ward Calhoun here in the house with us. Welcome, Sheriff.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here. And is that mobile betting stuff that y'all were talking about just yesterday with the
Oh, yeah, the online gambling.
online gambling?
Yeah.
Is
Oh, the
this the
betting.
shows online? Is that on? I don't know. I'm asking.
It is a big week for gambling with this
Roger's the one
basketball
talking about
tournament
betting,
starting.
so I'm not saying-
Actually, what he's doing is inquiring as to see whether this is legal or not. Okay.
No betting here.
That's right. Let's take a phone call here at Mornings in Meridian. Good morning, caller. You have a question for the sheriff?
Well, not necessarily a question.
There
Oh,
he
boy.
is.
Personal comment.
A personal comment or advice or
Editorial.
whatever.
All right, let's hear it.
Here is Citizen Solly checking in this morning.
You know, all these folks calling in, talking about how great and wonderful Sheriff Ward Calhoun is.
Yeah.
He picked a fight last week with one of his constituents.
Uh-oh.
He did.
He called and personally rubbed it in to a constituent.
Oh.
Sheriff, would you like to tell him what you did last week, Sheriff?
Oh.
I think the caller has the floor. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead there, caller. What happened?
Well, he tried to blame his employees. Said his employees dared him to do this. But I really think deep down it was, you can do it, I can do it too.
Okay.
Last week, when the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, along with multiple other law enforcement agencies, took some bad guys into custody, a short chase was also involved in that. But these guys were really bad guys.
Yes.
And the new sheriff just saw a great opportunity to call the old sheriff and say, nah, 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 nah. That's what I did.
You know, it's no secret that there's, even when you were working together on the force, that in the department, that y'all had a kind of a little rivalry going.
You've heard, you know, in the Bible it says iron sharpens iron. Well, there you go.
Ah, good example.
But I can tell you that many, many years ago, when we were both much younger and much more fit, that at noontime, instead of eating at Wyman's, we'd go out running, and every run would end up in a race.
And who would usually win that race?
Every once in a while, I'd let him win so he'd feel better about himself.
Yeah, you know, and
Thoughtful.
now, I'm trying to remember, what marathon did you ever complete? Not in an ambulance?
Okay, not in
The
an
only one
ambulance.
I entered, I was running 2 minutes per mile faster than you were running. And no, I didn't finish it.
So I don't know. You got to decide which lesson you want to learn: finish the race or go to that hospital. I don't know.
And of course, he rubbed that in too. He didn't take his medal and put it in an 8x8 or 8x10 frame. He took a picture of himself at the finish line and did a 4x4 picture and hung it in his office.
There you go.
It's poster board size. Get it right, sir.
Oh,
They got a billboard.
get it right, sir. I like that. Still the respect, but not afraid enough to just give him a, kind of shill him down a little bit.
The building's got the man's name on it. I have to be nice to him.
You walk in there every day seeing his name. Yeah, no doubt.
And
Now, I was just tickled to death last week when I heard that they were involved in the apprehension of those bad guys. And, it's, every time I see one of the deputies, I do my best to try to come up to them and tell them to please be careful.
there you go. Is that the bad guys you were talking about?
That's the three.
The Trendiaragua.
Yeah, sure.
That
If that's
one?
what you call it.
I'm working on my Latino voice there a little bit.
Dirago.
Yes. You have to remember the movie Three Amigos, and you can learn how to talk in Spanish. The accent,
I was
anyway.
thinking like Tony Montana, but either way, both works.
Well, anyway, so we actually had some gang members from Venezuela here that were wanting to cause trouble.
Well, apparently they were traveling through. Like I said, they'd been in Tennessee and Alabama, coming out of Kentucky, I believe, were at least one of them, and made it here. But they didn't leave.
It's nice to know that people will start mapping, bad guys will start mapping a way around Lauderdale County.
Yeah, that's right. Or they'll be going to Venezuela.
I'm not going to say somebody used to say this, but I'll just say that there was a thought process that they might get to Lauderdale County, but they better not get out if we was after them.
Ooh, okay. I wonder who said that.
Sheriff, can you remember the lady over in Newton County that came to the county line 3 times being pursued by law enforcement and turned around every time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's we have a reputation sometimes where they don't want to come here, which is good.
One of our favorite colors is Lauderdale County green.
Mm-hmm. we had the motto way before Hayes in Arkansas did on Patrol Live. We'll chase you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll chase you.
We'll chase you.
That's my favorite unit to follow on that show. Hayes in Arkansas. Oh, those guys are great.
Hayes in Arkansas. Yeah. Now, I just want to call in and
yes, you did.
As a constituent, say how proud I am of the department and the leadership that Ward's providing.
Very good. Well, thank you for that vote of confidence there from a constituent of Lauderdale County.
Makes us all smile.
Can you still beat him in a foot race?
I don't know about that, sir.
Okay.
I'll be 70 next month, so he's got age on me now.
Well, there's a certain handicap we can give him.
I like the way you're sandbagging it there. You're talking about your age. He can probably beat you. Let's have a race and see how this really ends.
Well, it has to be a short one.
What's that, 100-meter or 50-meter? What's the
do 100
100-yard dash? That's it.
Do a 10-meter.
10-meter. You do the 40 like the NFL does.
That's after lunch. That's after lunch.
Let's do the front door, Wideman's to the table.
There you go.
Hey, there
Or
you
who
go.
can leave quicker when the check comes? Even better.
That sounds wonderful. Thanks for checking in, Citizen Solly.
All right, you guys. I was going to bake a homemade egg custard pie and bring it by the department today, but I knew the sheriff was probably going to be full from those biscuits he brought y'all this morning, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep. Ooh, wow. I like that.
Oh,
just a parting shot.
Bam. Well, I do appreciate the fact that you can be deeply involved in a nice, calm afternoon of fishing, and you will still answer your phone from someone who you don't have to have their vote anymore. So I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome, sir. An update on that, sir. It was we ended up catching 32 bass.
Ooh.
The biggest one weighing 6 pounds 1 ounce.
Wow. Okay, a 6'1" bass. Good deal.
Sounds
yes,
like
Chuck. I netted the 6 pound 1 ounce bass. I didn't catch it.
Okay.
Wow.
Just making all the clarifications, trying to avoid further phone calls.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Citizen Solly, for checking in, and I'm sure the sheriff appreciates your accolades.
You guys take care, and Sheriff, I'll be seeing y'all soon with those pies.
looking forward to it, sir, as always.
And by the way, Citizen Solly, if you do want to bring a biscuit by once in a while, that'd be fine with us. No
I ain't
problem.
gonna say no.
You guys have a blessed day today.
Okay, thank you.
The non-committal, I love that. I'm gonna leave that one alone. You ain't getting biscuits, right?
Yeah, he told me I was supposed to bring y'all biscuits, but you know,
you
know,
we realize that ain't something we know you're not necessary at all, not at all.
you know, I don't feel like I need
nice.
to bribe you. you know. So
No, you certainly don't.
It couldn't hurt, though.
We never did once consider it a bribe. We knew it was just simply a kind-hearted
Kindness.
gesture from a public servant.
Ah, okay.
Mornings in Meridian. Funny thing, though, I always voted for him.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show.
Chuck said that bass jumped in the boat.
The bass in the boat.
He was wanting to ride.
How are you doing, Mr. J. Slay?
I'm doing good. I'm a little slow and late this morning, but I'm getting there. But I had to say that. I mean, because the sheriff and Chuck go back and forth real good.
Hunting,
when
fishing.
Chuck's not picking.
Yep.
When Chuck's not picking at me about the buffet line, but anyway. Yes, great job there, Sheriff. Y'all do a wonderful job for our citizens. Just thought I'd mention that too.
Excellent.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And there was a recent discussion on Facebook about a cemetery that I remember your dad discovering back, and I sure do miss him too. Y'all take care and have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate
you,
the
sir.
phone call. All right, it's Mornings in Meridian. Time to talk about our good friends down there at Martin Roofing. Talked to Doug Jr. not long ago, getting lined up in the queue. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, a 30-year roof doesn't really last 30 years.
It's about a 20-year roof. Yes.
So, Doug, we appreciate you responding.
And, of course, Martin Roofing, been doing roofing right for over 30 years, locally owned and operated. These guys are from Meridian. So, they're your friends and neighbors. And, of course, all you got to do is call Doug Martin Jr. or Doug Martin Sr. at 601-485-5920. They'll be happy to help with all your roofing needs. Now, they'll come by and give you a free estimate and inspect your roof for damage. Can't beat that. And, of course, they're a member of the Better Business Bureau because they are a better business. And these guys go the extra mile. I tell it all the time, and it's true. They did my in-laws' house, and they did the doghouse roof for free. I mean, it was just a little something extra they did.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just kind of the people they are. And you see their signs all over town. It's like they're running for office, but they're not. They're just running to fix your roof. 601-485-5920 gets you in touch with Doug Martin Jr. or Doug Martin Sr. Martin Roofing.
You just didn't see Trish slip them extra 100 to do that. You just didn't see that, did you?
Trish to my in-laws to pay to do the doghouse roof. See, it wasn't my doghouse.
Oh,
we didn't have a
okay.
doghouse. But we just put the dogs out in the yard. Like, fend for yourself. You'll be fine, probably, maybe.
Mornings in Meridian. Let's take another phone call here. Our guest here on the show this third Tuesday of the month is Sheriff Ward Calhoun. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Let's see, we got Roger Charleston. Hi, Sheriff Ward Calhoun. Good morning to you.
And the mayor of Sucaleta.
We are complete.
That's right, Mayor. Good morning.
Good morning. I just had a comment I wanted to make about Sheriff Solly. Appreciate his long time tenure of public service, and I'm so glad that he and his wife are able to retire with relatively good health in his later years, and I hope he has many years to come. He can enjoy his retirement and think about what a successful life he had. But if he got two things, good health and just a little bit of extra money to live on.
There you go. Spoken as one who has been long time retired, and so far the money hasn't run out, has it?
Not quite. It's got a little bit left, but after I paid my income tax, they tore me a new one. When you don't have any dependents and nothing to claim, they won't let me claim my dog. They won't let me claim my loss on my lottery ticket. So, they hit me pretty hard. But that's all right.
I don't know. I just have a problem in the country where we're charging income tax to our 96-year-old citizens. I think that's a travesty.
There ought to be a point at your age limit you exempt it from all tax. I think that'd be a great bit of legislation to pass.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
you shouldn't even have to be filing.
right. I used to work with a young man that's working our parties, and he wasn't, real high on the totem pole for his income. But I said, Steve, you file your taxes? I hadn't filed taxes in over 10 years. I said, you're going to get caught one of these days.
Mercy.
Anyway. Oh, well, with that thought and everything, I hope everyone has a wonderful and great day.
Good job there. Thank you, Mr. Benny. That's great. Mayor Sokolina checking in here this morning. And we'll take another phone call. Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to speak to Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. He gave a hint that he's going to be involved in some sort of theatrical production.
Yes, and he is stellar in his acting. Absolutely stellar.
Wow. So I should come to the dinner theater.
Oh, yes, you should. You should, and we're a cheap game to play. I'm telling you, $60, and you get a hot meal, a lot of fun, a theatrical play by stars and professionals, and Ward.
Yeah,
and Ward. All those people and Ward.
Boy,
I don't even try to compare. I'll try to go head to head with the sheriff. I want to jab him. I'm not going to say anything about Sydney. I can't win.
Don't even try.
Smart man.
Greater men than you have tried and failed.
Exactly.
But I do encourage everybody to call the theater. It is not too late to catch a table or two. Or we're real tight on how many spots that are left. But we open Thursday night and we close Saturday night. Doors open at 6, and it is people start calling for tickets in January for the dinner theater at Meridian Little Theater.
Wow!
And we do guarantee somebody will die during the play.
Okay, well,
not from the food. Not from the food.
Absolutely not. But it is. It's a 3-course stellar meal. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And again, for $60, go anywhere and get one meal for $60. But we throw in a full-length play with audience participation, and it's just a good. And then you're still home by 9 o'clock easily.
And I will say this: Sydney drinks me under the table. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, all right, there you have it.
And what do we do under the table, Mr. Big?
I can't say without giving away part of the play. I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's right.
Let the imaginations run wild.
That's right.
Yeah, mine is.
Good. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Sid. Good to hear from you.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you go. It's the dinner theater at Meridian Little Theater. It's this Thursday.
This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't know. And Sydney didn't say they may have tickets for every night. I don't know. I know that was getting close to being sold out. So if anybody hadn't done that, you want to do that today. And doors open at 6. Theater, well, the show will start at 6:30, and like you said, it's a full course meal, and I promise you will have a good night of fun.
All right. Well, that's a promise from the sheriff. So
dinner and a show.
Dinner and a show. That's right.
And I'm excited to not have to be a law enforcement officer. I get to be a criminal.
Yeah,
I'm
you
excited.
get to really act now because
I'm going to act like a criminal. See if I can do it. I think I.
Well, you've studied criminology for quite a while. So
the flip side here, we're going to give it a try. And
but now we know the character, Mr. Big. Huh?
Mr. Big. Yeah.
Okay.
Not a gang member from South America.
No.
But
Trendagua. What is it?
But
Trendagua.
I am heading to South America. So you got to come see the play to see the rest of it.
Joining the gangs. I got you. All right. Wow.
We're going to get this little break in, come back. It's Mornings in Meridian. Roger, Rob, and Charles. Sheriff Ward Calhoun. which was a lot of country music lovers saying, what do you mean he's black? Good music of Charlie Pride. Mountain of Love. Roger B. here along with Mr. Rob Atkinson.
Hello.
And Charles Frazier.
Good morning.
And thank you, Ward Calhoun, being here with us.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here today.
Off and running. Glad you're out there. Charlie Pride, born on this day in 1934. Wilson Pickett, born on this day in 41. Other birthdays. Here's one for you. TV personality Mike Rowe. Y'all like Mike Rowe?
Yeah.
Podcast personality? What do we call
Is
it?
he a dirty job guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
63 years old today. So,
Micro here.
dirty job, like running a jail or something like that.
That's a dirty job.
I tell you, somebody's got to do it, though. And the late President Grover Cleveland, born on this day in 1837. Fast fact, he was the only U.S. president to ever serve 2 non-consecutive terms until Donald J. Trump was reelected this past year.
Grover.
Or inaugurated this year.
And guess what else he did?
What else did he do?
I think more it was his wife, as I recall from a book I read not too long ago. They are the ones that had electricity installed in the White House.
Nice.
Hey.
However, they were scared to death of it, and a person was hired to turn the lights on and off.
I need one of those. We can just get the clapper.
Yeah.
Lights on, clap off.
If only they had that back then. That would have been the secret
That was
right
invented
there.
a couple years later. Yeah.
That was during his second term.
I did not know that about the fear of the switch.
Well, it's a Bill O'Reilly book about the presidents, and there's, 6 to 10 pages on every president, and it does more about the quirky things you might not know, what they like to eat for breakfast. We had one president like to go down to the Potomac River and go swimming in the nude.
Oh, wow.
Just stuff like that you just didn't know. Of course, back then the guys just kind of the White House was open. People would just show up and be inside.
The people.
The people's house.
So, but it was a great book to see the progression of the presidency and how that kind of worked. Like, for example, one other thing I remember is during the War of 1812, when the British are coming to burn D.C., Dolly Madison is busy trying to get things out of the White House. And as you know, there's a portrait of George Washington that's in the East Room, I think. It's hanging there today. They were trying to get off the wall, her and one of the butlers or servant, whatever they were called. And they were struggling, and 2 people came by out on the street and saw it. They went in and helped them get it into the wagon. And I never thought about it, but the question was, well, where was the president when all this was going on? The day the Secret Service had him in the beast or in the bunker they'd be going or whatever, back then he had gone down to see the battle, what was going on.
Check it out. Yeah.
So, with just by himself on a horse. So, but he came
After
back.
swimming nude in the Potomac.
Honey, if the house is still here when I get back, I want some
Take down a couple
pot roast for
pictures.
for lunch. Yeah, that'd be good.
Didn't she save the library or something like that? Wasn't Dolly Madison?
That was the picture, I know. I remember her getting that picture.
Yeah. All right.
And, another interesting fact, we didn't need to get off on this.
No,
but
that's good. It's educational there. We like talking to people who read.
Well, there's a book by David McAuliffe. I think I'm saying his last name. The title of the book is 1776. And every American should read that book because it talks about the American Revolution. And on paper, and anybody looking at it would never have dreamed that there would be an America. You just can't. The United States of America shouldn't exist. Makes no sense. The most powerful navy in the world. They didn't have the most powerful army. If you look around, you find out there were the British. The army was good, but it wasn't the most powerful army. But they still should have been able to just come over here and crush us. But they didn't. And we have a country. That book is great in talking about all of the things that just happened to work right for America to be here today.
Your Majesty, the Minister of Defense suggests that we wear clothing that blends in with the foliage so as not to be seen, but we're also getting resistance. They want to wear red.
Could have been orange, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we do. Well,
Back to 1812 when Washington and Dolly Madison, a lot of people forget that night after they light the Capitol and the White House on fire and it's burning, this huge rainstorm, flood, puts the fires out.
Wow. Hey.
I'm telling you, it's
Called the intervention right there of a divine nature.
1776. Get the book, read it. It's a great read.
All right, 1776.
We got homework.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah.
Book report next week.
Okay, you're going to be tested on this in what's the next month? April. Okay.
Yeah, well, you should know your American history.
You really should, and especially if you do a talk show, you should know a little bit about it.
About President swimming naked in the Potomac. Now, that's important stuff.
Naked.
Naked.
Bill Clinton, I wish I'd have thought of that.
Wow. Could have been Taft. Who knows?
Had to have a couple Secret Service agents in scuba gear.
We wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have got caught in the White House.
I love my wife,
Monica.
I love Monica Moore.
Yeah.
It's we were talking with a couple of Secret Service agents one time when they were here. I don't remember which time. Different times they've been here. With Vice President Pence, he was here 3 different times. But in talking with them, President George Bush was the one that they just said it was impossible to keep up. He ran marathons.
Yeah.
And he loved it, especially his first term. He loved to run, and so they had
Kind of like
to,
you yourself. You
but
ran marathons.
Yeah, not that, but
And completed the marathon, not in an ambulance.
Ouch.
that was not me, sir. That was Roger. But they said, that guy he could get after it, and so they had to have a couple of guys on his detail that could at least try to keep up with him, and so they didn't always. That was tough.
And they were saying, well, hey, Biden's got a bicycle. How are we going to keep up? They said, don't worry, he's going to fall. Don't worry, we'll catch him.
If you're on President Clinton's detail, you had to make sure you had a debit card or some cash because you were going to divert by a McDonald's.
Yeah.
So, and you could keep up with him. It was easier.
There you go. Pretty good there. See, good. It's good to know these little intricacies of our leaders. Very good. Hey, Sheriff Ward Calhoun is in the house. If you have any questions for him, you feel free to give him a call right here. It's 601-485-9191. 601-485-9191. That's to get you in the studio right now. By the way, he is going to be appearing at the Little Theater in a role at a dinner theater held on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So go check him out there. Mr. Big.
That's right. And got another event coming up people need to know about. They can come and participate in as well, which doesn't cost you anything except a little bit of time.
No charge.
All right.
No charge,
Hey.
yes.
Love it.
Sign Charles up.
Yep,
There
I'm
we go.
I'll
We
take
can do
2.
that on Saturday, April the 12th. So we're a few weeks away from that, from 9 in the morning to noon at Magnolia Cemetery. Going to have a community work day.
Oh, work? Yeah.
Work day.
Take my name off the list.
Oh, that's all right. It's a good thing.
So folks need to be thinking about that. Nearly everybody in our community that's lived here has probably got a loved one that's buried in that cemetery. And I did this last year, had a lot of work. It's been a group put together, got some paving done in the cemetery. If you hadn't been in there the last couple of weeks, that's completed. Not the entire cemetery, but a lot of it. And so the roads are in much better shape, and they're going to have a great work day on Saturday, April the 12th, 9 a.m. So come a little earlier. You'll get directed in. If you have an area you want to do, you can plan to do that on your own, or you can come in and you'll be assigned kind of an area. Just need to, there'll be they'll have some gloves and garbage bags and that kind of stuff, but would encourage people to bring anything they might think they might want to use, like a weed eater, but no blades. You got to use only wire or line, I should say. Clippers, rakes, that weed eaters. We're gonna have a few people with chainsaws there. We've got a couple trees that we've had one that's fallen that needs to have a little cleanup, I think. But be a great opportunity to come out. We had a lot of fun last year. A lot of people out there last year. Any groups? Got a number of groups that are already, look, the VFW, I think there's 2 VFW groups. Man, what's the average age of those guys? In their 70s or later, they're going to be out there. So we're just looking for as many people on that day to come for those 3 hours in order to help spruce up the cemetery.
For how many hours? 3?
3. 9 to
Okay.
12 is
9 to 12.
what we're shooting for that day. There's a lot of the Key brothers are buried out there. Sonny Montgomery's buried out there. Paul Davis is buried out there. There are a lot of famous people, and there are a lot of people go to the cemetery, and there's going to be a whole lot more burials out there. There's a lot of, plots that are still open out there. And Jay Crane doing what he can out there, but the truth of the matter is the way that system works, the money and the perpetual care the state has, they mainly just use the interest off of it, and it just doesn't generate enough money for what things cost today to keep things up, where we would all like for them to be. So this is just to give you an opportunity for folks to come out and help us with that.
Something to put on your calendar. Community cleanup there at Magnolia Cemetery. It's Mornings in Meridian. We have a caller on the line, has a question for the sheriff. Good morning. Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Sheriff, you're recounting some of the stories in the book about the president reminded me of one. I'm going to try to get through this before it takes 10 minutes, which a lot of my thinking and doing does these days. But I was lived in Northern Virginia in the Washington area for 30 years, and during that time, President Clinton loved to play golf, and I was privileged to have the opportunity to play golf at a course outside of Washington called the Robert Trent Jones International. It was a great course. They played the President's Cup there. It's like the Ryder Cup. They added that while I was up there, as a matter of fact. That's the game between the Americans and the Asians and Australians and all other places that are not Europe. They have good golfers, and that was played there the first several years. But the story on President Clinton, he had a very powerful black supporter in that area that would come out and play. They would play there often, and the people that worked there hated it because they had to give up the golf course practically, and actually had some of the Secret Service agents stationed in a big lake that's out there to make sure nobody came in that way. But it was the reputation was Clinton loved to play golf, and he loved to compete and to have his games with different people that would come there. But the word was, don't ever bet him very much, because he doesn't have the same attitude toward the rules of the people that really do know and understand the game. He wasn't very good, but he sure did manage to get some pretty decent scores, which you can imagine.
There you go.
That's the way I play golf.
All right. That's the story. Thank you. I'll hang up now.
No, a good story, Tommy. I appreciate that. So Hillary is not the only one in the family that can work the numbers. I'm just
surprised by this.
I know.
How many emails was that again?
And that's what I've always preferred. I can either be good at golf or keep the score. Either way, since I'm not good, I'd just rather keep the score.
Don't count that. I was interfered with.
That's right.
That's right. Don't count that. How many mulligans did we get this time? Anyway, good story. President Clinton and golfing. We've had some golfing presidents, Eisenhower, and I guess, Clinton. Reagan didn't do any golfing, I don't think, did he? Don't remember him doing anything like that. I don't remember him
doing that. He mainly liked to go out and chop firewood at his ranch out there and ride his horse and work on his fences, I guess, or whatever.
That was his release,
Bush
go work on the ranch.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Are you a golfer or anything like that?
No. Golf, I tried it. I'm too impatient for that.
Any sport that stands out, or just run? You're just a runner?
And these days I'm a hiker.
A hiker. Okay. Very good. All right. That's a good exercise.
Yeah, it is.
Good cardiovascular workout there.
Now they do these rucking. You don't do that, do you?
I don't do the rucking deal. I've looked at it, but it's just
adding weight. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
See, here's how that all started. My wife, who's been on me for years and years, she started on about, you don't have any hobbies. All you do is work. All you do is work.
That'd be some weight added if you had your wife on
Well, they do have a wife carrying thing in Norway or something.
Wow.
But I'm not Norwegian. So, but she encouraged me to find something, and so I don't know, probably about 6-7 years ago, I finally said, I was trying to find something we could maybe do together, and so I talked her into it, and so we started hiking, and we've been to Colorado, and we have we're going to a trip. We're going on. We already have planned Scotland. Going to be gone in September to go hiking over there, and we've been to Colorado and North Carolina and Tennessee, and I can walk Bonita out here with my eyes closed. A lot of people do not realize the treasure we have right out here in our own community. 4.6 mile loop there, and it's beautiful out there. Now, this time of year, it's all brown. Well, not really. It's amazing how Saturday to Saturday. Now, we didn't go this past Saturday. Obviously, it was raining, but we'll be back out there this coming Saturday, and it will be green.
And yellow.
And yellow.
Yeah, a lot of yellow,
it will,
too.
Poof, it just turns green. But it is absolutely, you see deer out there, and it's beautiful. And so we spend a lot of time hiking. Now, she's a good sport about it, but sometimes she just quits talking. And when she quits talking, you don't say anything. You just keep
Quiet.
walking. Just keep walking.
Okay. Wow.
Keep walking.
All right.
Keep putting one foot in front of the other. KMF. Keep moving forward.
Okay.
So you have a wife that quits talking.
I think I've set myself up in my own trap.
Okay, never mind. I just
Start backpedaling a little bit.
Are you saying you want to join us?
Interesting. I just said, these things happen. We're glad you're out there, folks. We want to remind you, I'm not trying to start anything. If you want to start something, though,
too late now.
Yeah, it done been started.
If you do want to start something, we recommend going to Battery One Source, where they have all the batteries to start whatever you need.
That's right. Everything you need for batteries, whether that's for a golf cart, which they do golf cart service and repair as well. Best in town, but they've got batteries for every need and description: watches, remotes, cell phones, even laptop computers. If your laptop doesn't have a battery, guess what? It's a desktop. Well, make it a laptop once again. Go see John Dufour and his crew at 2618 North Frontage Road, in between exit 152 and 153. And they will set you up right. Of course, they've got the battery tenders, maintainers, cables, and they'll test your batteries for free. They do all that stuff. They also have the best cell phone repair guy in the business.
Sid.
Bring it in for a quick fix. They're open 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Battery One Source, 601-693-1500, 2618 North Frontage Road. You will not be disappointed. They're just great guys over there.
All right, it's Mornings in Meridian. We are going to take a break for Fox News and some other things, and when we come back, you can ask more questions of the sheriff. Sheriff Ward Calhoun is in the house, so be here around here for that. We don't want you to go anywhere. Keep it tuned in. Keep the stream going. Florida woman admits she smoked meth, then runs from cops while out on bond for running from cops.
Jeez.
After a deputy saw her swaying left of the middle of the roadway in her Mustang. Anyway, just some crazy stories.
It's Florida.
Surely we don't have crazy criminals here.
A few.
We might investigate that when we come back.
Yeah, I'm afraid a lot of the younger guys probably that'd go right over their head.
They wouldn't get that one there. Sally, you better slow this Mustang down. Of course, that's Wilson Pickett. That's right, born on this day in 1941.
So does she want to ride around or drive around? I'm confused.
That's a good point.
I think he can.
Wow. All right. Glad you're out there, folks. Moving right along here. Roger B., Sheriff Ford Calhoun. He's the one in the house here today. Charles Frazier's here. Rob Atkinson.
Good morning. And real quick, guys, I wanted to take just a second and send out our thoughts and prayers to the family of John Johnson. And, of course, longtime reporter down at WTOK, one of the kindest gentlemen you would ever come across, and just a good newsman, good journalist, and got to know him out at the college. He was on our board out at MCC for a good number of years. Saw him out in the community a lot, and that's a big loss for our community, but gonna miss him a lot. So.
Had kind of a nice, calming, smooth delivery of the news.
Yeah,
each
really
night.
did.
Yeah.
And
he was just a good, gentle soul when you talked to him off camera. He was just a good guy.
kind of started out where he was teamed with Jim Daniels or something like that. Or what is it? Is that his name, Jim?
You mean Tom Daniels?
Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, he was there a long time before Tom Daniels.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
a long time before that. Yeah.
Then they put Tom in there. Gotcha. John Johnson, very nice, calming voice. Good fellow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right, it's Mornings in Meridian. Let's take a phone call here. Do you have a question, caller, for the sheriff?
Good morning, guys. Come
Peace,
in peace.
love,
everybody.
ain't nothing.
And there's nothing you can
Not
do
a
about
thing.
it.
Got it.
What's up?
Yeah, the question for the sheriff is, now I don't think Lauderdale County have one, but do you know of any county around here that has a police academy in their public schools?
I do not. I will tell you that we are already and have been in conversation with the Lauderdale County Schools. They have a program currently at Southeast High School and West Lauderdale, I believe, that is a public safety, public service class that they do, and they are planning on doing something at the new CTE Career Technical Center. I don't know, I'm not sure what the E is for now that I think about it. But anyway, at the new building that they're redoing, and we're talking with them. Matter of fact, I took a tour of that building week before last and had a conversation with the superintendent and also Mr. Smith, who's going to be in charge of that, about what that class might look like. And so there's some ideas being floated to do that with our county schools.
Okay, now you said that's at Southeast School?
They have a program currently at Southeast High School, yes.
Okay, I'll have to get with them. So I got a couple ideas how we gonna float it up. And once I get back to Cincinnati, April the 17th, we have a meeting with the city council and the school board about implementing. We have a small program there already, but we're looking at ways to expand it. And, you know, this would be a way for the guys. You get a guy in the 9th grade and let him know, you know, he can become a police, a deputy, a firefighter, and it's just another part of vocational. And you keep these kids on the straight and the narrow that they say, hey, I can become a firefighter in 4 years. Or another question, what age do you have to be a police here in Meridian?
Well, in Mississippi, to be a certified law enforcement officer, you have to be 21 years of age at minimum or emancipated. There are some that, you know, that have done that. I only know of one or two through all the years, but 21 is the minimum age in terms of a certified law enforcement officer. You can become a corrections officer, detention officer at 18, though.
Okay, sounds good. Well, okay, I'll be getting with them, and that way I don't have to recreate the wheel. I'm glad that's already going. I just tap into it and give it some momentum.
Yeah, we're looking to grow that. I mean, we see that as you know, for not only a good thing for the young people to discover these careers, but of course as a pipeline to help give us future people One of the things that many of our deputies, when I say many, I don't know the exact number, a number of our deputies and the older ones at this point, at some point were involved in an Explorer program that used to be flourished at the Meridian Police Department back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. We started an Explorer program. We called them Rangers back in about 2006 or 7. And that lasted about 8 years, 7, 8 years, around 2014, 15. You know, we just didn't have any participation. And we're looking to crank that back up as a part of that working with the school system. And what that is the Boy Scouts have, they're not Boy Scouts anymore, are they?
They are Scouting USA.
Scouting USA.
I don't
Okay.
know. They keep changing.
They have the Explorer program is, it is where it's not like the traditional troop, but it's a occupation based, and they have Explorer programs for all different kinds of occupations. And we had one set up with them. That's what we're looking at. We're going to be redoing that. And so it'll be kind of like a club on campus in addition to the classes that they would take about public service. And that's including fire and law enforcement and medical, like paramedics and that kind of thing.
There you go. Hey, I love what you're saying, and I would love to be a part of it.
Well, it's in the conversation in the works.
Yep. Okay, thank you. I'll be getting with you guys. You guys have a good day there.
All right.
You too. Thank you.
Mississippi, soon to be Cincinnati James again.
They're like a riverboat gambler.
Yeah. That's it. There you go, the gambler. Good to hear from you, sir.
Same. Thank you.
Mornings in Meridian, 601
might have to call him
485-9191.
Mrs. Natty.
Mrs. Natty.
You might not like that.
Mississippi.
That makes sense too. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Sheriff, as we think about the day-to-day tasks of the Sheriff's Department, things obviously from the outside all generally look like things are going okay. Do we still have, there for a while we had a rash of people out in the county that would burglarize and things like that. Is that still going on? Is that fairly under control?
Text from you're going to need to text from the wife, and so she became priority.
Yes, indeed.
Zoned out on you.
You know what?
Sorry.
I understand how that works.
She has hiking poles. They have pointed ends. I pay it. I don't want to get.
So she's talking to you now.
She is right this minute.
All right. Just want to make sure.
County burglaries, people outside in the country, is that slowed or is that still a thing?
It happens. Thankfully, not as much as it used to.
That was the question.
You know, and I think that's because of a couple things. We were talking about this in the office not long ago. This is a segue, by the way, to something I want to tell y'all about. But cameras and technology have really helped a lot in some regard, I think, to that. Because so many people now have that. I think that's part of the reason we have seen. We still have thefts going on, but the burglaries have been down a good bit. So people are still stealing out of buildings and cars, that kind of thing. But in terms of our just sheer numbers of burglaries, they are down a good bit and have been.
Are you defining burglary as just
somebody break into a home? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and what I wanted to follow up with that is, and I talked about this our last visit, or maybe the one in January's. One of our goals had been to put out an annual report, and we are days away from having the report done. It's not nearly as quickly as I wanted, but working with the staff, it's our first one and trying to get it right. So then we kind of, after February kind of came, we said, okay, first quarter, we can get it out by the end of March. We're going to call it success. So we're real close. We got a couple little polishing things to do on it, and hopefully in about a week we'll have that out. It'll be digital. That's what our plan is. Put it out on our Facebook and put it out in the media, and it will be you'll have a snapshot of what 24 looked like in our different areas, what we did, those kind of things.
Okay.
A lot of numbers. I think it'll give a better picture to the community what their tax dollars pay for at the Sheriff's Department. We don't just answer 911 calls. That is certainly the part everybody sees, but there's a lot that goes on in the background that functions all together to make a Sheriff's Department. So it's our first attempt at this, and we're going to hopefully have, like I said, hopefully going to have that out by the end of March. It's the goal at this point. I think we will reach that goal. Next year we're going to try. No, I don't want to use the word try. Next year we're going to get it done earlier. I think we ought to be able to get it out by the end of January.
So an annual report from the sheriff's department. How about that?
I saw that years ago at some caught my eye. It's always tried to want to do, and it just, just hadn't happened yet. So we're there now, and so I think that'll be good for our community to see that.
Think we can get one from MPD?
Oh,
Just a question. Bring it up in the meeting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hey, Tommy, ask the question.
You impressed the chief scab picker over there.
No, I don't know. I see.
Mornings in Meridian. Good morning,
so
caller. How
proud.
you doing?
Good morning, Lefty here, y'all.
Morning, Lefty.
I got a question anybody can answer. How you get in touch with the illustrious mayor of this town?
That's a good question.
Huh? Anybody know? I've tried for 3 weeks to call him on the phone, and the secretary doesn't answer. The CAO doesn't answer. Nobody answers, and when you go to leave a message, I'm sorry, but the mailbox is full. Yeah, it's very frustrating. If y'all got any solutions to that, I sure like to hear them. But so not being able to get in touch with your mayor is well, it's very disappointing.
Agreed. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Now, isn't there some kind of event going on this Saturday, maybe next Saturday, where they're meeting candidates?
Yeah, I think so.
Brendan Rue's organizing that. I don't know if the mayor will be there for that. Obviously, he's a candidate, but there was something in that article about not answering or asking questions, which I thought was a little odd. But
Well, that tells me how much the mayor gives a damn about the public. If you ask me, we can't even get in touch with him. It sounds like he doesn't want to hear from us. And
have you been by City
I
Hall?
don't
Or
know, but I mean, like I said, I've tried a week before last week. Hadn't tried this week yet, but I'm sure I'll get the same response. But to not even get the secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, good gosh. But anyway, that's just something. Maybe the mayor's listening in. Maybe he can change that today. But I doubt it. Somebody probably have given a little push to wake up or something. I don't know. But anyway, just that's one of the leading things I talk to people. They can never get in touch with their public officials or their elected officials, and even when they can leave a message, they don't call them back in a timely manner.
Lefty, have you tried emailing him, just out of curiosity?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that's a better way, or even if there's a published address.
Try to email somebody when they've got a phone number.
I agree. I'm just, all methods of communication,
I tell you which one's quicker, and it's not an email. Not sitting down and banging away in front of that computer.
There you go.
But I don't know his email address anyway.
Yeah, maybe published on the site. I'm not sure on the city site.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
that was just one of my pet peeves. That's like I thought about that, and I said, well, maybe old Jim is listening in this morning, but I doubt it.
your mission, should you decide to accept, is continue trying to make contact and let us know when that happens.
Mr. Phelps.
We expect a progress report soon.
My next door neighbor asked me, when are you going to run for something? I said, honey, I'd have a snowball's chance. I'd vote for you. I said, would you really? She said, yeah. I said, okay.
All right, that's 2.
Yeah.
Off and running.
I've got to get everybody's attention about a tall white bill. Yeah.
You go swimming down in the Sawashi.
Yeah, good.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Swimming nude in the Sawashi. You'll get some press coverage.
Oh, y'all got the history buffs on right now. What I've never delved into it, but what caused the War of 1812? I thought the British got their butts whipped good enough in the Revolutionary War. What caused them to try again?
Ooh, I know the answer to this too. I just got through where I'm having a Charles.
Yeah. The British decided to declare war.
It had something to do with Canada, and it had something to do with.
It's always
Oh,
Canada.
I know what it was. No,
Hockey, probably.
no, here we go. No. The
Okay.
British were stopping ships, merchant ships, because they were fighting somebody, and they were taking American citizens off of merchant ships and impressing them into the Royal Navy.
Wow.
And we got a little bit tired of that.
Okay.
And that was part of that. And I want to say it had something to do with Canada, too, because I know when the war started, we went up there to go invade Canada and try to take it over.
Oh, again?
Yeah. And I remember that a couple of forts and got beat, and that's when the British marched down to Washington. I think I'm telling all that
Oh,
right.
wow.
Okay.
I usually know American history, but that's one part that I did not know what caused that.
Well, it did, and it didn't last long. The whole
No.
conflict, and of course the Battle of New Orleans with Andrew Jackson actually happened.
1814 took a little trip.
Exactly.
Yep. Like that
So
song.
the problem was that it was fought after they had actually had a treaty for peace.
That's what I do remember that. Yeah.
Took a little while to get somebody down there to let them know that.
They didn't have an email. They wouldn't
Phone
answer the
service wasn't
door.
very good.
Wouldn't answer the phone calls.
Smoke signal.
How do we know the war was over?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's what? Okay, y'all. I'm listening, and at least now I know what caused that. I thought Canada was involved somehow in that. We should have been number 51 200 years ago, huh? But they're kind of liberal, you know. As a matter of fact, they're more than kind of.
Yeah, it's like bringing in another California. I don't know if I want to do that.
That'd be a lurch moment, wouldn't it? Yeah. All right, y'all have a good one. I'm listening.
Thank you. Thank you for the phone call. Get that coffee, 601-485-9191.
Trying to
Sheriff
find the mayor.
Ward
Hello.
Calhoun is in the house.
Anybody home?
Yeah, there's a caller, there's a listener telling Lefty, just go go down to City Hall and knock on the door. That's what Tom Williams does.
Yeah.
There you go. Good morning, caller. Welcome to our show. Question for the sheriff?
Yeah, good morning. Oh, well, couldn't maybe he could just, does he know a judge, Sheriff? I imagine the sheriff knows a judge. Probably get a warrant to go get the mayor so we can get some questions out of him.
No.
No, my question was actually a serious one.
We got a bolo for the sheriff there. I mean, for the mayor. Be on the lookout.
Yeah, right. Ms. Calhoun, I was wondering, now, with all this technology and stuff nowadays, I know there's a lot of towns, like, they've been employing all these, high-tech things, like they've got street cameras that are also, or street lights that are also cameras, and got microphones on them, and, I mean, the sky's kind of the limit, and I was curious what your stance on all that stuff is, as far as implementation. Is it something that you would like community votes on or something, or is it something that just handle within the precinct so the public doesn't know about it, or what's your stance on all that?
Yeah, let me start off by saying this: for the county, at this point in time, maybe 20 years, 15, maybe 30, I don't know. There may come a time when technology can help us do a better job of monitoring the community. Right now, it just doesn't. Lauderdale County is 715 square miles, take about 60 miles of the city out, and you're looking still at, 650 miles. It just doesn't make sense. We don't have the resources or the money to have a camera or whatever device might be, a gunshot detection. Those things work pretty good in cities. We do leverage some technology in our community. In terms of cameras on some roadways, public roadways, public cars, I don't have a problem with that. It's not like, so I was talking to one gentleman, he was all worked up about that, and I said, do you have an iPhone? He said, yes. And I said, there's more monitoring of what you say and do with the phone in your pocket than we do with anything that we have, as it should be. The government shouldn't be monitoring everything. I don't want us to live in a society like that. But there are technologies that I think that we can agree, we as a community, and of course the community ultimately does because they pay the taxes. They're the ones that finance this stuff. About what level we're going to monitor. I don't think we want to monitor people's houses, but public roadways, public events, ball fields, school campuses. I think those are all fair game to use as much technology as we can to monitor for criminal activity or events, those kind of things. And I'm not talking about, I don't know if I have a good example, but, something that's intrusive. But just if you're in public, you're in public.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess I like your stance on all that. Now, as far as, when the more monitoring gets or increases and the more watch they have on everybody, the next step is prevention. And, there's always a fine line between, stopping someone before they commit a crime versus, making them guilty of a crime that they would have never commit, just for fitting profile.
Yeah, and I think those are those fine lines that you have to be very careful with. There's a movie out there, I can't remember the name of it. I think Tom Cruise is in it.
Minority Report.
Minority Report. There we go. Science fiction, of course, but those are the things you say. Well, because and it's this balance of knowing when to do something, because many times I've had in my career multiple times somebody say, they're having a disagreement with a family member who's threatened to kill them with a gun, a neighbor or whatever. What is do they have to murder me first before you do something? Well, the answer to that really is almost yes. In many ways, we respond. That's a lot of what we do. Now, there are sometimes things that where somebody's broken a law, and if we can leverage that and do something with it, then we do. For example, a threat. But that's a misdemeanor offense. If your neighbor says, "Hey, I'm fixing to shoot you," and they don't shoot at you, and that's a misdemeanor versus them shooting you, which is a felony. So there's a fine balance there that we have to find. It's going back to kind of the premise, I think, of your questions in the public spaces. How do we work that? And it's difficult at times.
Yeah, people do say some wild stuff sometimes when they're heated, and they never plan on acting on it.
Exactly.
In the moment, it sure seems like a good idea.
Yeah, but you got to be careful what you say. You don't get to go in the theater and yell fire.
That's right.
You got that right.
All right. Thank you for the phone call.
Does your department use geofencing at all?
Not. We have in terms of some of our investigations, yes.
Hey, appreciate the phone call. We've got to get out of here, but thank you for the phone call. We appreciate it. We do have to mention that we appreciate our good friends down at Southern Business Supply, because Charles gets his order in every week, and it's delivered the very next day.
The next day, you can't beat it. Family owned and operated for over 38 years. Southern Business Supply, 5685 Dale Drive, right up the road in Marion. They're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can give them a call, 601-485-2447. But what I do is just go to southernbusinesssupply.com, order all my office supplies for the week, pens, staples, staplers, whatever you need. They've got it right there, even the break room supplies. So whatever you need to run an office, they have there, and they'll bring it to your home or office. Can't beat that. southernbusinesssupply.com. When you buy local, your money stays here. Say no to the big box stores and say yes to southernbusinesssupply.com.
All right. Sheriff Ward Calhoun, thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great to be here, guys.
I know that phones are still ringing. Sorry we couldn't get to your call, but we will try again next month. All right. Until